better fix that clock. It's 12:29. I'm ready.
It's live.
Huh? Say it's live. In the name of the everlasting Father, he that causes all that exists to exist, he that is self-existent, he who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, he who made time the seat of the universe. He's known among ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aton, among the Hebrews as Ansar, Yahweh, Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari, among the Yoruba tribe as Olodumare, Obatala, and many other Orisha gods. But I bear witness that all of those names refer to the same one, Almighty God. And it is to him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, those children of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are their lost 13 tribe, born here in North America, and we are of the Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the world flow through our veins. I greet you all in the ancient but yet holy words of peace, in the languages of our fathers, of Hotel, Shalom, Assalamu Alaikum, Barakani, Alafia, Ashe. All greeting words, salutations of peace in the many different languages of our fathers. I greet you in peace. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Toma Nation, aka Temple Mercy Association. We're located in Chicago, Illinois, at 616 East on 71st Street. And I welcome you again into our edifice. I am Brother Minister Rahim Chesed Aton. I'm the founder of this great movement, the Toma Nation. And I didn't do it alone. I had a little help. And he's the co-founder, Minister Omar Jahi Aton. Great help. Along with our first lady of this movement, Sister Makita Aisha Aton. I want to start off by saying, as of right now, we've been on, I believe, live for a good 4 years, maybe 5. And you, by now, out there in Facebook land, YouTube, should know that we are an all-inclusive, black, conscious, righteous movement. We're not a church, but yet we believe in God. We believe in Yahshua. We believe in the words of Scripture in both Bible and Quran. And you know by now that we have what we call prescribed readings for every month that helps you to dwell deeper into those whose shoulders we stand on, and also helping you to fully understand the plight of black people, who we are, whose we are, and where we are going. So I don't want to take too long in these 30 minutes to go deeply into that, but our prescribed reading for this month happens to be Message to the Black Man by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And Toma Nation, we strongly advocate advocates two books by two different authors. One is Race First by the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and his also Philosophies and Opinions. We also have Message to the Black Man, Elijah Muhammad, who has another book we read called Fall of America. Why those two? Because they are perfect examples of nationalism and being a nationalist. More so that we here in America, it is already known by this government that there are two nations in this United States. One black, one white, separate, but yet unequal. Just look at a report called the Kerner Report or the Kerner Commission, all right? So I want to read a little something right quick, and I want you to understand that our goal is to become a nation within a nation. Not a church within a church, but a nation within a nation, backed by God and his Christ. So, following those examples, I want to read real quick, and then hopefully I can read enough that you can understand where we're at and where we're going. But you're welcome to always come down here at 616 East on 71st every Sunday from 12 to 1:30. Marcus Mosiah Garvey said this: a race that is solely dependent upon the love for its economic existence sooner or later dies. Garvey believed that commerce and industry were the props of the economic life of the state, the community, and society as a whole. Progressive nations indulged in commerce and industry, and these activities provided occupations for the residents of that state. You were either an employer, an employee, or a ward of the state, and a man without his own business or specialized training was always at a disadvantage in making a living. Great wealth is made out of commerce and industry. In Garvey's opinion, African Americans who attempted to go into business, commercial or industrial, were at a disadvantage because they could not appreciate starting at a point and climbing up the ladder, while other races started at the bottom and climbed their way up. African Americans always desired to start at the top, thus resulting in failure. Garvey said, no success ever came from the top. It is always from the bottom up. He will never be an industrial or commercial factor until he has learned the principles of commercial and industrial success. I like to say this too, that all our leaders and teachers were men. And they all made mistakes, and they all used what was given them during their time to bring us out of our condition to a greater understanding of who we are so that we can become just as commercially valuable on this planet as any other race. So one part in there, I agree with him. When you're trying to be in this world to get there, you do start from the bottom to the top. But in ancient times, trillions of years ago, the true concept for us was top down, not bottom up. And one day I'll explain it to you. But we've gotten so commercialized with this Caucasian that his way is bottom up. Now I'm gonna move on. Just to show you, we have a flag and we have a national anthem. On August 13th, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey gave us a flag so that black people around the world could unite under one flag and still keep our own flag. That flag is the red, the black, and the green. Every other group, the Moors, should have this flag and their flag when they're having their meeting. The Nation of Islam should have their flag and this flag. And any other religious group, Hebrew or whatever, even Christian, you all have you all's flag. The Church of God in Christ got theirs, the Baptists got theirs, next to your flag should be this flag. That brings a sense of unity to us. The same sense of unity that the Mexicans have when they have a parade. They don't have 100 different flags, they have one flag. But yet they might be, the game that they might be in might be under a different flag. So you still keep your main flag. This flag was given to us by a man who had a nationalist mentality. And in the year 1900, James Weldon Johnson gave us the Black National Anthem so that we can all unite under that. And you can still keep your anthem. That means the Nation of Islam can keep theirs, but we need to do that one too. That means the Moors can keep theirs. That means the UNIA can keep their anthem, but do this one too. See, we gotta learn, according to Elijah says, study the white man, because he's successful. Every time they go to another country, they have their flag and the flag of their country. When they get off the airplane, they play their country's anthem and they play the United States anthem. They play both. And because we're in our communities looking like a mini nation, a mini group of nations, a mini group of tribes, then we need to have one flag that we come up under. And when we come into your edifice, we hear you do your anthem, but you should have us all stand for the Black National Anthem too. I'm speaking because this movement is about unity. And this is why we are all inclusive, because we don't want to get caught up in the gang banging of commercialism and my organization over yours. And this is another reason for our prescribed readings, so that we can go into those, all right, deal with the truth of them, but yet the part that makes them fight with the other, we back away from. So, when world leaders travel to other countries, I just said it actually, when the leaders of both countries represent themselves before the people, said that about the flags of both countries are represented. Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Clarence 13X, Huey Newton, Dr. Collett were all exceptional human beings. They received inspired revelations from the Creator. Yet, because they were human flesh, in human flesh, they made mistakes. But if we look at their good and what their good did for our people, I'm sure that their good outweighed the bad. The right outweighed the wrong. As these men matured and their wisdom and knowledge increased, they began to evolve from human beings to supreme beings. Now, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had a chance to be an example of that revolution. He evolved from nationalist to universal. And his universality came from his wisdom. And he evolved from his human self and the supreme knowledge and information that Elijah gave to him, that he was shaped and formed now into that last moment or that last part of the evolution before going into supreme. He's right at the door to supreme being. See? So time and time being here helps you to evolve into that. And that's why you got to keep your health going so that your body can be here so that it can make that evolution. Now, they were not meant to be worshipped. These men weren't meant to be worshipped, but to be kept alive through their teachings. Today we must recognize those that are alive today. Minister Louis Farrakhan, Reverend Jesse Jackson, Reverend Al Sampson, and Reverend Al Sharpton. But then we got to ask a question. Why? Why, with all the wisdom and knowledge combined, is our open enemy still able to keep us divided? Why? Why do our religions, our philosophies, our interpretations still keep us divided? Why, if we are so smart, do we still let our egos and our foot still get in our own way? With the wisdom of Jesse Jackson, what is it? Why can't he be with God? With the wisdom of the Honorable Elijah Honorable the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Salis Muhammad. Why can't they come together? With all that wisdom and knowledge, and all that teaching of how to look beyond the faults and see the good and all, how can they not come together? There's division in black Christianity, black Islam, black Islamism, black Masonry, black Hebrews, black Garveyites, black conscious communities, black Pan-Africanists, black nationalists, on and on and on. We in Toma don't promote one religion over another, because we believe and know that Satan's last trick, which is religion, is used to cause division. The war between Islam and Christianity and all of its subdivisions is and still are going on for over 1,000 years. So now, let's get a look at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You all can also go on YouTube and get the audiobook version of Message to the Black Man, because we'll be in this book all the rest of this month. And we'll also be studying from another book called Black Root Science. And I'll tell you about that at a later date. 34 years after signing the Emancipation Proclamation, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was born on or about October 7, 1897 in Sandersville, Georgia. The exact date of his birth remains unknown because record keeping in rural Georgia for the descendants of slaves was not kept current, according to historians and family members. Nevertheless, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said his birth took place sometime in the first or second week of October in 1897 and set forth October 7th as the anniversary date of his birth. Indeed, life in rural South at the turn of the century was quite hard. Poverty and survival were at war with each other. Elijah Poole, the son of a minister, and whose parents, Willie, later named Waleed, and Marie Poole, had 12 other children. They had to quit school after barely finishing the 3rd grade to work in the fields as sharecroppers so that his family could eat. Just before the Roaring Twenties came in, Elijah Poole married the former Clara Evans, also of Georgia. Did you hear me? Clara Evans. Is that a coincidence that Dr. Webb Evans is Evans too? Sewing up that thread that shows us united as one, on the same path. They had 8 children: Emmanuel, Ethel, Lottie, Nathaniel, Herbert, Elijah Jr., Wallace, and Akbar. And ain't it a shame that none of them is in the nation today? But yet, all his children from the other wives, most of them are in the Nation of Islam. It is something that Elijah saw that regular human beings couldn't see. Think about it. In April 1923, Elijah Poole moved his young family from Macon, Georgia, where he worked for the Southern Railroad Company and the Cherokee Brick Company, to Detroit, Michigan. Black families like the Pooles were leaving the South at that time in search of better economic and social circumstances. Detroit was a bustling, upward, mobile city with its burgeoning auto industry. Chicago had the steel mill industry. Blacks were coming to Chicago and Detroit to get those jobs. He took them. The stock market crash in 1929 was the gateway to economic misery that sparked the fuel of the Great Depression of the 1930s. Now remember, Garvey was around too. He came here in 1920. So he was already operating in Harlem, New York, while Elijah was in Atlanta, Georgia. Then he moved to Detroit, Michigan. So Atlanta, Michigan. Meanwhile, way up northwest in Harlem was Marcus Garvey doing his thing, bringing in nationalism. Elijah Poole had not gotten into that yet. Detroit, with its huge population of 1.5 million people, including 250,000 blacks, was beginning to see changes in its social scene. On July 4th, 1930, showing you again that Marcus Garvey was here in America in 1920. By 1930, Marcus Garvey had already had 2 or 3 million members. So, Master Farad Muhammad appeared in the city, in Detroit. He announced and preached that God is one, and it is now time for blacks to return to the religion of their ancestors, Islam. Islam means submitting your will to do the will of God. News spread all over the city of Detroit of the preachings of this great man from the East. Elijah Poole's wife first learned of the Temple of Islam and wanted to attend to see what the commotion was all about. Now here's where people differ here. It says, but instead her husband advised her that he would go and see for himself. Now, according to some other writings, I read that she went to see brother, man, my mind is going right. Master Farad, thank you. And when she went, she joined that day. And when she came back and told Elijah about it, just like any other guy, he talking about this dude too much, you know. Let me go see who he is. And then he came, and then the rest was the rest of the history. I don't get into it and fight, or even have a reason to fight you all about it, because the Nation of Islam can take up for themselves. But I can certainly give both points of views that I understood it to be. Just like there's another one saying that Elijah was a member of the Moorish Science Temple. But from my studies that I've studied, I heard that Master Farad Muhammad came and joined the Moorish Science Temple, and he caused a lot of friction in there because he was saying and teaching them on the side, some of his members, Arabic, and saying that if a person didn't know Arabic, how can they teach you of Islam? When word got back to Noble Ali, he put him out. That's what I heard. That's for the nation to challenge and fight, not me. I'm not involved in none of that, but my whole thing is, one thing I can say is both of them were Masons, but they tried to keep it hidden. But I'm never going to hide that from you all, that I am a Mason. See, ain't no whispering about where I come from in my background. In November, we study Toma, Temple of Mercy, and you'll be able to hear it all about us. We're studying Elijah and Message to the Black Man this month. August, we study Marcus Mosiah Garvey. So stay tuned to learn about the Toma Nation in November. So, hence, in 1931, after hearing his first lecture at the Temple of Islam, Elijah Poole was overwhelmed by the message and immediately accepted it. Soon thereafter, Elijah Poole invited and convinced his entire family to accept the religion of Islam. The founder of the Nation of Islam gave him the name Kareem. This was Elijah's first name, and made him a minister. Later, he was promoted to the position of Supreme Minister, and his name was changed to Muhammad. The name Poole was never my name, he would later write, nor was it my father's name. It was the name the white slave master of my grandfather after the so-called freedom of my fathers. Now, as you can see, Elijah is not the founder of the Nation of Islam, but Master Farad Muhammad is. Then Elijah, then all the other offshoots after Elijah. But the one who brought it back to fruition to its highest point was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Now, Garvey is gone, but he still has some people running different divisions here in the United States. In Chicago, there is still a nationalist movement whose founder is still alive. And that's the Temple of Mercy Association, aka Toma Nation. And in this particular nation that's growing, moving from an organization mindset to a nation mindset, we look at the past and we say that we cannot repeat the mistakes of the past. We know that they all made mistakes, so we study them and we walk through their life with them through these studies. And we look at those different paths that they took, the mistakes that they made, knowing that if we walk the same path, we're going to be faced with it. Even Yeshua, Jesus, studied the mistakes of the past prophets so that he might walk perfect. And so this is what we do here in Toma. And we decided that we wouldn't lead our movement with Christianity or Islam, but we would take both Christianity and Islam along with other studies, Yoruba and others, Kemet, and combine the truths of them and bring it back to our people so we can stay all inclusive, thereby being of one mind and not religious gangbanging. That's what you get when you come here. And you get the corrections of those mistakes. But see, some of their members don't want to recognize that those men made mistakes. They don't want to recognize that. And you won't grow if you don't. It was not a mistake for Noble Drew Ali to say black according to science means death. That was not a mistake. That was not a mistake for Elijah to alter the Islam of the East, of the Arabs, and make it fit for us here back in America. That was not a mistake. That was by God that he did it. And it was by God that Noble Drew Ali did and said what he said. But now when you come up to 2023, it's just like the word gay back then when they were coming up meant lively and happy. And some of the parents named their children gay. But today, these children, you say gay, it means something of a homosexual nature. Well, black back then did mean death because of the condition that we were in and how it was being used and that terminology. But further study of black and digging down deep to the core and the root of what black was about, we found it to be more than what the white man was trying to make it be for us. See? So in 2023, black does not hold the same connotation that it did back then. For us as a people. No, it's not our nationality. No, it's not our ethnicity. But the essence of it and the core of it lets you know who the supreme beings of this planet truly are. But we've fallen into a bad condition. Come and learn more about that condition. Come and learn more about who is God. Come and learn more about yourself and why the nation says the black man is God. And let's talk about the spook God. Does it really exist, the one that the church people talk about? Maybe the church people just visualize it the wrong way. Maybe one does exist. I had some members from the Nation of Gods and Earth leave the temple because I said that I believed in the spook God and the black man being God. But they didn't want to sit down with me to find out what I meant. But you'll find out what I meant real soon in November. You can come and be with us on Sundays from 12 to 1:30, and you can be with us on Wednesdays from 7 to 9 here on Wednesday, study class, 616 East on 71st Street. Come and see us. Come and be with us. Come and grow with us. Come and be a part of a movement that's moving into its own nationalistic mindset and mentality, where you can come, no matter what your religion is, and sit among us and learn about all the other groups. Thank you.
Joining us for our weekly Sunday worship service. We invite you and your family to join us live every Sunday at 616 East 71st Street at our new time from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. and on Facebook from 12:30 to 1 p.m. If you have enjoyed what you have heard, please feel free to support us with a monetary gift on Cash App at $TomaNation. Once again, that's $TomaNation. This will conclude our live stream. The message you have been listening to will continue live here at the Toma headquarters. We thank you, Black family. See you next Sunday. Black Power.
This is the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent.
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.
Power.